It's time for the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship. This round is MotoAmerica Superbikes at Pittsburgh from Wampum, Pennsylvania at Pittsburgh International Race Complex. And we're setting the stage for Junior Cup. Round number 5, race number 1. Can't wait to see what this racetrack has in store for us. I'm Craig White with Jason Pridmore, and Hannah Lopa will be joining us in a moment. But Jason, let's get everybody caught up on our championship point standings and where we are.
Yeah, at the beginning of the year, we saw Avery Dreyer jump off to a pretty big points lead, Greg. He's had a couple little issues, but you can tell he still has a pretty comfortable lead there with Max Van, who really had a chance at Brainerd to pick up some points, but tipped off in race 2.
And talking about your points leader, Avery Dreyer, Jason, you're right. He started off the season very strong. He had 3 wins right off the bat, but lately it's been a bit of a struggle.
Yeah, well, this is one of the wins at Road America. You can see he just took advantage of that 5-rider draft to the line. Classic Road America type of finish. He'd already won a couple races in Atlanta. He won one at Barber. And if you look here, this was at Brainerd. And this is where we kind of saw our first little slip up from the 99. As he gets into turn 3 here a little bit too deep, you're going to see that front start to chatter a little bit, tosses it down the road, but he'll fight back. He's ready to go here at Pittsburgh.
Can Avery Dreyer get back on track as he is trying to hold on to that #1 spot? We'll find out from Pit Race after this.
Well, there you see the grid as they are queuing up to get going here for this race. And Avery Dreyer, you saw that off. They were just talking about it. And what a response for him, Roger, to come out, put the bike on pole, deliver the message, not just to his competitors, but to himself that, yeah, I'm not done. I'm still fast. I'm ready to get after it.
Yeah, just kind of send that message like he, for him, he was a little bit off yesterday, and then even at Brainerd, he was a little bit off from what we've seen previous all year. So come out here this morning, that second qualifier, and able to kind of show the rest of the field he's still the man to beat.
Yeah, he is, absolutely. But we saw what Rossi Moore could do and what he actually did in that first race at Brainerd when he was able to sort of break the pack and eased away from everybody. And we've also seen the guy just to the left of him in your frame there, the number 70 of Alessandro Di Mario. He was wickedly fast on Friday here. There's so many here, Roger, that you just simply cannot count out. And Jaden Fernandez showing that pace that we saw at Brainerd, showing that again this weekend.
Yeah, and had a little issue that first practice yesterday morning, so missed a lot of track time. But you go back to Rossi Moore, we've seen him at Road America, we've seen him at Brainerd as well, wanting to lead and try to break the draft. Well, we come here to Pit Race, there's not a lot of long straightaways, so I think if there's a track, easiest to probably break the draft, it would be here. And he's going to take his shots early and try to lead and see if he can't check out.
Well, and that bike, we've talked about it, that KTM, it's sort of like what we see from the Yamaha in Superbike, in that the KTM a little bit down on power maybe to the Kawasaki 400 Ninjas, but it rolls speed so well. And you've talked, Roger, about that second sector is a 35-second or more for these guys. Second sector, that is a lot of time you can gain if you get through there well.
And he's going to try it.
Yeah,
and that's just going to be his
exactly.
plan. I think every lap going into turn 1, 3 and 7, he's going to take his shots and see if he can't get away from those guys. There's going to be a little bit of a draft out of turn 14 to the chicane and the front straightaway, but it's not going to be nearly as big as a lot of the other tracks that we've been to.
And I think it was really, really crucial for Max Van to put in the run he did in qualifying. So we'll see if he's going to be a player here. It's Junior Cup time.
MotoAmerica Junior Cup coverage is brought to you by Geico Motorcycle. Visit geico.com to see how easy covering your ride can be. By Steel Commander Corp, a leading steel building manufacturer offering expertise, innovation, and a dedication to quality. And by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Starting grid for Junior Cup, and it's a ton of riders. Jason, Avery Dreyer, Rossi Moore, and Hayden Bickney's on the front row.
Yeah, and then we have DeMario, Fernandez, and Max Van there rounding out row 2. Woodworth, Beatty, Medina, Block, Chapin, and Chase Black just outside row 4. Chris Clark, Cunnison, Franco, Sneed, Monk, and Muscaro. Big grid here, Greg. Kesey,
huge.
Muschler, Elliott, Rivera, Singh, and Solly Mervis. And a little further back, Jasmine Nichols, Jake Vandal, King, Barber, Gabriel Lewis, and Rivera. And James and Gendron are going to round out this 32-rider field, Greg. Biggest field, I think, that we've seen all year.
Massive field when we come closer to the East Coast here. And this race scheduled for 10 laps. Now, Jay, pit race really offers us a variety of racing. It just kind of depends on how this field ends up breaking away. But there's some sections here that are super technical, and not a lot of straightaways, but we expect a really tight race here in race number 1.
Yeah, it's a very technical turn 1 too, Greg. So getting this field through that very, very strange turn 1. Not strange, it's a great turn 1. It's very blind on your entry. So want to see them get through there, and obviously the chicane the first lap will be something that we'll be paying attention to as well.
Hayden Bickney's on the front row, the 69 looking for a good launch. So here we go. It's Junior Cup race time, and the lights go out. Clutches are gone. We go to turn number 1. Avery Dreyer shooting across the front of the field, and he's going to lead us into turn number 1. Up and over the hill we go. Rossi Moore up the inside on the 34 will slot into second place.
Yeah, you really can look about 3 rows deep into this field that where our winner's going to come from. There is a little bit of drafting, as you can see here, as they're already starting to get into a line as they brake hard for turn 3 on this opening lap. One of the main passing points, and Rossi Moore goes through on the inside as they go down through 3 to 4 and then down this big steep hill. You really don't have a clue how steep this is until you walk to the very bottom of this, but Rossi Moore heads to the front.
So Rossi Moore on that KTM. That's a Farium NGRT Gray Area Racing RC390, the 2018 model. Last time they were talking about some transmission issues. They've got a new engine in that bike and sorted through that. As the 34, the 15-year-old Rossi Moore, who will be 16 by the time we hit our final race of the season at New Jersey. So in his last couple events as a 15-year-old, Rossi Moore leading us.
And that was a
first lap.
Great aerial view of the S's here from turn 7 through turns 10. A lot of transitioning back and forth through there, and you saw we have about 4 riders trying to break away early. As you see DeMario there up front, and Hayden Bickney's, who's also a front row starter. Those 4 guys are starting to get away as we come down into this crucial chicane, a chicane that has been a little bit altered from last year. So let's see how these guys all get through it. It's a little bit slower chicane. They're going to jump over that paint on the inside of the right, and then it's a little bit sharper left, Greg, than it was last year. And you can see 5th and 6th have now started to make that close up, and that's going to be Max Van, and I believe, was it Medina maybe behind him? I'm not sure.
As they come onto the front straightaway, Rossi Moore is going to lead us across the stripe, giving us the opportunity to welcome the 3rd member of our broadcast team, Hannah Lopa, in the mix.
Avery Dreyer in the 2nd spot going down the straightaway just in front of me here. I talked to Avery ahead of this weekend just to kind of see where his mindset is, because as the season winds down, you know, things tend to get a little urgent for some riders, and he's very young, so I wanted to see how he was handling the pressure, and he said truly he's not trying to put too much pressure on himself. Yesterday he wasn't feeling as relaxed as he was hoping that he would be. Went back to the drawing board overnight, watched some videos, you know, spoke with the people on his team that he's been working with, and he's feeling much more confident and much more comfortable and relaxed today.
Well, that's good. That's what you need, really. It's just to have that mindset, Jason, especially in a race situation like this.
It's funny, you know, when you look at these riders that we see battling each week up front, they just know they're going to be in a battle. And here we got 10 laps at Pittsburgh, and you know, it's all about just making sure that you position yourself in the right spot those last couple of laps, Greg. And you want to, I think every rider in this class believes that they can break away until they can't. And then it really becomes a strategy race. And you can see these 4 riders here have a little bit more pace than Max Van and Yandel Medina through these S's but if they start doing that, they start racing each other up through these little sections, it's going to allow the other 2 guys to really get in on the back. And obviously Max Van was very quick through the chicane the last lap through, and he drew up onto the back and he brought 39 and Medina with him. So now let's hope that those 2 guys can get locked in, get on the back of those 4 again as Dreyer now takes to the front. You see DeMario slides himself into 2nd, so we have a double pass up at the front. That's going to put Rossi Moore just back there in 3rd now, and Bickney's has just been sitting there on the 69 watching all this happen right in front of him.
Lexington, Kentucky's Alessandro DeMario, 14 years old, on the Altus Motorsports Ninja 400, having a good run at it right now. Into the draft goes that KTM with just a host of Kawasaki's in the mix. There's the battle for 5th and 6th as Hayden Bickney's in 4th. Just sets the fastest lap of the race so far and goes into second spot and doing it a 157.388 for Bickney's, the number 69 on the Bickney's Racing Kawasaki.
And he's looking right now to go down the inside, going up here into 3. Dreyer's going to let the lever off, though, as Rossi Moore slides himself up underneath the Mario there. So there's a lot of jostling right now. Dreyer's going to take his shot now of trying to lead through all this little section of the racetrack, almost like you could call it the infield section. They got 2 straightaways that are linked together here. That front straightaway, they go through turn 1, then they're wide open again all the way to turn 3. Bickney's with a good drive up out of turn 5. He's going to pull up alongside Dreyer and try to get down underneath him as they go down into turn 7.
Another pass for the lead. It looked like Rossi Moore might have had a notion to take them both, but he doesn't get it done. So new race leader and a good move. And now we've got more people at the front, Jason.
Yeah, Medina actually got past Max Van, and he closed that gap right up to the back of the 4 in front. And you can see Max Van there trying his best to also lock into the back of these guys as well, as he just loses just a little bit of time to the S's. But here's a good shot of Max Van. Really a guy, Greg, that we knew was going to be there for the championship, running second in the points as we sit. And we saw him make that small bobble at Brainerd in the last corner on the run to the checkered flag that cost him some points, unfortunately. So for Max Van, it's pretty key to try to get up there and get a win here as Bickney leads them through the chicane. Dreyer second, Moore third. And then just off the back there, Demario Medina and Max Van, top 6, have definitely broken away. Levy Batty is making that charge, Greg. And remember how far Levy Batty came back at Brainerd. Can never count him out. He's back there in 7th at the moment.
You have to kind of wonder about Yandel Medina out of Bronx, New York, and how quickly he caught this group. Can he make some moves? Doesn't look like he's able to even put himself in the draft. Talking about the 39 as Moore goes up the inside. He'll take some spots, and he leads for the moment. What a race.
Yeah, let's see how the draft works here as you see Rossi move all the way over to the left. So I like this move here. He's going to make them go down the outside of him. He'll gradually rather get himself back to where he needs to be. But that's a pretty solid move there from Rossi. A lot of racecraft showing there, Greg, as he didn't want to let anybody draft by it down the inside and run the risk of getting passed on the inside as they went down into turn 3.
Rossi Moore looking very comfortable out there in front, Hannah.
He is, and you'd never know that the team has been struggling after last round with gearbox issues. They put a new engine in it, but sometimes he'll still catch a false neutral. So he's making a serious conscious effort and really focusing when he's shifting, so that's slowing him down a little bit. But, you know, his goal for the weekend is really just to finish in front of Avery Dreyer overall. It's a new track for him, and his last time here was last Friday at a track day, and he certainly got up to speed very quickly as he is leading the race right now.
Yeah, it's great that they were able to get here, get a little extra track time, being able to see the track for somebody like Rossi, especially when you're locked into this championship. And, you know, I'm seeing a little bit more out of Avery Dreyer, too, right now. He doesn't want to let anybody, he doesn't want to get shuffled back too far. These are all very important points for the 99. As we saw at the beginning of the year, Greg, pretty dominant start of the season for Avery. And now he wants to bring this race to Rossi Moore. These are the guys that are battling for that championship. And, you know, the intent is we got to beat each other and continue to try to get ourselves better in this championship.
Getting close to the start-finish line, and it'll be 6 laps to go for Rossi Moore, who leads the way over Dreyer, Bickney's, Demario, and Medina, all in the mix as Max Van trying to latch on to the back end of this group. Coming across the stripe, Jason, 57.4 for Rossi Moore, who loses the lead to the 99 of Avery Dreyer. And Moore trying to fight back immediately. Is he going to have enough coming down the hill?
He puts himself to the inside there, and it's going to put him in a good spot when they get into this braking zone into turn 3. I don't think they're going to be able to do anything with him as the 34 does take that lead back. And this is the kind of racing we like to see, the championship leaders up at the front, battling on each other a little bit here. And you know, the good thing is that we've still got that 6-rider pack at the front. And you know, when I see what's going on with Max right now, just losing a little time in some of the drives up these hills and things, that could be something as simple as gearing. The smallest little things make such a big difference on these small bikes, Greg. And it could be something very simple as that could be hurting Max Van right now, because he just continues to lose just a little bit on them through this section. Yeah,
when I came in this morning, I actually parked next to Brian and Max. Brian's his dad. And when we were talking about, you know, his day yesterday, and he said, look, it was really me. but that he wasn't up to speed quick enough, Max Van admitted. But the problem is even on these smaller displacement motorcycles, if you lose a day where you're not up to speed and you get to this race, this is where you can uncover those issues. Maybe it's gearing, maybe it's a little suspension setting here or there, but that seems to be what's going on with Max Van right now, the 48 on the sportbiketrackgear.com entry. He's in 6th place, just half a second behind these 5 that are going for the 3 coveted podium positions with 5.5 laps to go.
And look how good he is through the chicane. He's able to draw back up on him now. Yandel Medina is another guy that we have seen awful racy in the past and trying to get himself into those podium spots. He's caught the back of this group. Hasn't really made a big move to get to the front of it yet. As you see P6 here, he's got a nice lead right now over Levy Batty, does Max Van. So he's at the back of that spot. As you can see, DeMario now takes that spot away from Dreyer and moves himself into second.
Six wide, all going down into a corner, and who's going to have the lead? It'll be the 34 with 4.5 laps to go here in Junior Cup race number 1. Rossi Moore still leads, but the 70 of Alessandro DeMario goes into second spot with the 99 of Avery Dreyer in the mix. Yandel Medina on the 39 there as well, Max Van. And these 6 are getting the job done. Just trying to find any place they can. Hayden Bickney's right there on the 69 as well. And Jason, this is really interesting because the question is for those riders up front, lap traffic is just up ahead. Who's going to get there first? Whoa!
I watched yesterday over in these S's, and DeMario was extremely fast through all those S's, and I saw him make passes like you just saw him try to make there. I saw him make it on a number of the riders in the field. These guys are all kind of going the same speed. They're going to be a little bit harder to do that with, but that's a good little test run for DeMario. He knows he's got that in his back pocket, rolling down into that left. You can see them. They're just catching up to the back of Solly Mervis. Solly actually had a problem, and he came in after the first lap. So they were able to get his bike, get it sorted for him and send him back out. But now he's going to have about 6 bikes looking to go up underneath him here as they head into that last corner. Solly does a good job just kind of getting out of the way a little bit. And but DeMario, you know, when you see him take a shot like he did there, those are like little test shots, Greg, that you can kind of know as the race winds down. We're going to have 4 laps to go this time through.
One of the things I noticed too on the 34 when I was in that team's pit looking at him is how tall that tank is on that KTM. As the 39 Medina takes another position away from the 99. Not exactly where Dreyer needs to be, and trying to hold on to as many points as he can in this championship. But Jay, it's just the height of Rossi Moore as a kid, as well as the height of that KTM. It's dramatically different from what you see on the Kawasaki. And you can see how narrow that KTM is versus the Kawasaki, and the struggle that Rossi Moore has to try to get behind the little bubble on that motorcycle, especially if you have 4 Cowies chasing you. There's not a lot of straightaways here at Pit Race, so there's not a lot of drafting and passing, but there's a lot of drafting. But here's some moves, Jay. Nope.
Medina, though, this is what we've seen. He's just methodically picked his way forward, hasn't he, Greg? And it's like he's moved himself up into second spot now. He hasn't really had anybody come back onto him either as far as making a pass back. And you can see DeMario, again, with that same direct line there into that turn 8, 9, 10 area on the 70. But Medina right now is the person who's moving forward. Saw him look down. Oh, gets a little bit loose there. And now they come through this very difficult turn 14, blind right-hand corner. There's a few turns here where you actually get the bike turning before you can actually see the apex of the corner. And that turn 14 is definitely a tricky one, and that's one of them.
Through the new chicane they go. Great job by MotoAmerica to put that Dunlop sign right there indicating where the new chicane was for anybody who's been here for a number of years at Pit Race. So now we're going to see what Medina's plan is as we go to 3 laps to go. Coming onto the front straightaway, a good drive for the 39, and he's going to just blast right past the 34. Does the 70 of DeMario have something? So just like that, we talked about it. Well, I'll tell you what, Rossi Moore looks so good into turn number 1. He's so good taking tight lines.
Yep.
He's got that one, but Medina to the front.
But now you've also got DeMario who's trying to draft Rossi Moore and get down the inside as they come into turn 3. But Rossi Moore is able to make that pass again, so he's showing how strong he is on the brakes. That's going to allow DeMario to move up into second. And look at the drive that killed for Medina as he came down that through turn 3-4 area, loses it, goes from first to fourth in the span of literally about 4 seconds there. Now DeMario pulls up to the outside, and you're exactly right. What Rossi's doing right now is just protecting that inside all of the time, and he's able to control these guys from being able to go by him. Now let's see if DeMario tries that move again as they come out of this left. He's going to swing back out, go to the right, and he's going to try this direct shot again. Not close enough this time.
Yandel Medina, 14 years old, for only a couple of more days, will turn 15 on August 28th. I think he got rattled a little bit, Jason, after getting passed so hard. You can see him lift into turn number 1. See if he can gather it back up and march his way towards the front again. There's about 2.5 laps to go in the Junior Cup, race number 1. Max Van still back there just holding on. But here's the thing about Max Van, never count him out, because we've seen Max Van back there in 6th place be so strong as the race wears on and start to pick up speed compared to his competitors. Oh, a little bit of motion from our race leader, number 70, DeMario. Taps the tail section, Jason.
I love it. Nobody's listening to that, unfortunately. It's just full gas all the time. And you can see here, DeMario and Moore just crept away a little bit in that last turn. So Dreyer's going to have his head down to try to get back up with them as Rossi Moore takes the lead back over the stripe as they go 2 laps to go now. So the tapping of the tail section lasted for what, 1 corner?
Yeah, good point.
1 corner for Rossi. Now, this is where I think DeMario's got to stay in the draft, and when Rossi starts moving back over to the right, he's going to have to try to surprise him. Rossi's kind of shown what he's going to do there every lap, so it's going to be up to these guys to try to do something to surprise him a little bit. And Dreyer now is back onto the back of them, as Medina is as well with Bickney's. I just don't know if Max has the bike underneath him.
I don't know. I mean, I just as we were going to that corner, I could hear some bread limiters. Looks like Medina lost the rear for a moment.
Medina lost the rear pretty big time out of there. That's going to hurt his drive up that hill. You can see Bickney's is able to pull up alongside of him there.
Strategies being formed right now. DeMario trying that move again. Just a test. We'll see if that's the move he needs to make on this last lap. There's still a lot of corners to go, and generally when we look at Medallia Superbike, we talk about laps, but in Junior Cup, because of the way racing is, it's almost corner-to-corner racing here.
Yeah, these guys all know what Rossi Moore's doing though. They know now. I mean, he's done enough laps where he's tried to be as protective as he can. He gets a little bit outside there, a little bit wide. He's going to bunch them all back up. Now the draft for Bickney should be good as they head down towards this chicane. You see he moves himself into third. Rossi Moore tight again as they go into the chicane. There's a great view so that we can see what each one of these riders are doing here. And you can see Yandel Medina over the curbing there on the right, trying to over that right side curbing, but he lost a little bit of time.
Max Van just in tow, going the same speed. So here we go, Jason. It's all go time now. We're going to be heading to the white flag. This is the final lap, race number 1 for Junior Cup. Crossing the line is Rossi Moore DeMario, Dreyer on the 99. Are they going to mix this up? The nice tight line by the 34 Moore. Bickney's, Medina, and Max Van still there in 6th place. Not making any inroads, though, on the pack in front of him.
Yeah, and so they've just conceded the fact that Rossi Moore is going to get down into this turn ahead of him. As you can see, Dreyer now gets himself up into second. That's going to kind of ruin DeMario's plan if he's got any plan to do something with Rossi Moore as they get down into the S section. But it's going to be interesting to see what Avery Dreyer does now as he takes to that 2nd place spot. He'll be able to hopefully draft onto the back of that KTM, possibly. That's what he's hoping for anyways. But Rossi does a really good job again. He's making these riders go into places on the track that they maybe normally wouldn't be. He's going to lead them into the S's now, Greg. So will anybody be able to do anything with the KTM? I really feel like the next real spot for them is going to be going into the chicane. It's going to be the draft out of 14 and the run down to the chicane, where I think that the next planned pass is going to happen for Dreyer.
Little left side movement on the rear tire for Rossi Moore. The only place that's really going to affect him again is coming onto the front straightaway. Dreyer, the 99, looking for some place to make it happen. The Bad Boys Racing Kawasaki Ninja 400 pilot, your championship leader. Trying to take more points away from the rest of the field, but Rossi Moore trying to grab another victory here in Junior Cup. Through the chicane they go for the final time today.
Perfect. He actually cleaned that. Look at it move over to the right. He's just thwarting the efforts of anybody else to try to go back down the inside of him. He's done a really great job of that, Greg. Now, can he hold on to the line?
That's the big deal. Behind the bubble he comes, left-hand corner. Is it going to be a draft and pass maneuver? Here we go onto the front straightaway. Dreyer has got a good run at it. As the checkered flag waves, it looks like the 99 is going to get Rossi Moore by 36 thousandths of a second over DeMario, who's 99 thousandths of a second back in third. Another 3 tenths back is Bickney's Medina. Max Van Eli Block in 7th. Chapin, Levy Batty in 9th, and Jaden Fernandez, your top 10. Let's take another look at this finish. Jason.
Yeah, look at that finish, and Dreyer planned it really good as he came out of that last corner. Rossi Moore did everything he could in this race, Greg. But, you know, you're so susceptible to the draft on these bikes, and that's exactly what happened there. Dreyer pulls off a perfect last lap draft pass coming down the straight. Very reminiscent to what he did at Road America.
What a rebound from Brainerd, where he had DNF and only scored a 4th place finish for 13 points. Now, his 5th race win of the season. We'll talk to him about that on the other side.
.36 one-thousandths of a second. That was the margin of victory for Avery Dreyer on top of Rossi Moore and Alessandro DeMario in this one. And Alessandro DeMario only 99 one-thousandths back of Rossi Moore. Top 3, Roger, covered by 13 one-hundredths of a second. Stunning race.
I mean, what a race. Each rider kind of knew what their plan was.
Yep.
And, you know, we talked about it earlier in the week about Avery Dreyer always finds himself in the right spot on the last lap. You don't really see the 99 trying to lead every lap. Just kind of hangs on. Last lap, white flag lap, turn 3, he's in second.
Yeah.
Or in the catbird seat. And that's
Yeah.
what he's did all year. Is just, you know, that experience, I think, is, you know, he's really using it to his advantage. He's been there in those races before, and he's able to put himself in those right spots.
Well, I'll tell you what, I want to run this by you because he was sitting back 3rd and 4th. He was watching Rossi and DeMario going back and forth. And when they came out and over that hill at the 19 onto the front straight, starting the last lap, he saw Alessandro DeMario come through there, get a run. And then I'm sure that DeMario checked up and said, I don't want to show my hand, and tucked in. And I think that was where Dreyer went, that's where I need to be coming out of the last turn. That's where I can win this. As you said, got himself into second, where, you know, to be in that position. Didn't attempt to overrun that chicane to try and get it there. I think he was really confident that he could do it there from what he'd seen.
And he wanted to be in second. I think he would preferably to try in the chicane to, you know, get a little bit more of a buffer. But for him, he played it perfect and got that good run. And I thought maybe he should have went to the inside, but that would have been, you know, he wouldn't have won because Rossi went left.
Yep.
And, you know, when you swerve like that a little bit, it'll scrub a little bit of speed off. But, you know, Avery rode a great race. And, you know, rough weekend at him at Brainerd, but comes back this weekend and shows, hey, I'm still the man.
Yeah, exactly. And I would normally have been thinking that too. That okay, try him in the chicane, but it looked to me like he was always struggling a little bit in the chicane. And I think so. He had a heck of a backup at least with that run out of 18-19, and he just got out of 18 incredibly well, climbing that hill through 17 and 18. And, man, did he make it work. And, again, these finishes, 36 one-thousandths of a second, pretty spectacular stuff. And, we were talking about can somebody make the break. Even in the end here, I mean, you take a look at it, the top 6 were covered by 0.8 of a second, Roger.
Yeah, just incredible. And, you know, every time you thought the pack would break up, they would come back and – you know, I think all the riders kind of knew what Rossi wanted to do, try to lead through the infield, and even him. I mean, he was trying to – it was really impressive how he could make a lot of those corners as far as he was on the inside of the track. But he knew if he goes to the edge of the track, he opens the door up on the inside going into turn 3, and he blocked it and just kept trying to make the break. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's worked in his favor a lot this year, though.
Oh, it has. And for Rossi Moore, one of the things that was impressing me when he'd run that really tight line down into 2 and then down into 3, and he wouldn't swing out much. But every time he went down the inside, when somebody would be on the outside and want to be turning it in, he just did a great job of parking them every time. So not only would they not be able to make the pass, he'd actually get them to null their momentum out a little bit. And that was an interesting move as well. Impressive stuff from Avery Dreyer, and we're going to be hearing from him and the other podium finishers here in just a minute.
MotoAmerica Junior Cup coverage is brought to you by Geico Motorcycle. Visit geico.com to see how easy covering your ride can be. By Steel Commander Corp, a leading steel building manufacturer offering expertise, innovation, and a dedication to quality. And by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Celebration in Victory Lane as an outstanding race move by Avery Dreyer leads us to these race results. And you can see it's 36 thousandths of a second over Rossi Moore, Demario Bickney's Medina Vanderbroek. Let's get right down to Hannah, who has a very happy 99.
Today's race winner, Avery Dreyer, and his 5th of the season, got it right at the line. Avery, take us through those final laps. What was your strategy and how were you able to pull this off?
Man, first I gotta say it feels good. It feels good to be back up here after not so good of a weekend at Brainerd. Been training hard between these races. I gotta say, good job to Rossi and Alessandro. They put up a fight. Definitely didn't come easy. The bike was handling great thanks to Dale Quarterly, the whole Bad Boys Racing team. It was just insane, like all of our races are. I gotta say a big thank you to all my sponsors: Rangeline Tapping Services, KYT, Global Racing Oil, SFL Mini GP, Brevard Superbike. Thanks to Dunlop for these awesome tires. Dying Easy, MV Racing Apparel for the awesome suit. You can't wait for tomorrow.
A very happy Avery Dreyer, guys.
Yeah, and why wouldn't you be? That was such a great race move. And if you're a young racer and you're looking at how to get it done, that's exactly the way to do it. And the reward for that is extending his points lead. Now Rossi Moore moves into second spot, though, 39 points back from Avery Dreyer, who's got 170 points in this championship. And we're running out of races here in Junior Cup. We only have 3 remaining this season, including 1 tomorrow. For Hannah and Jason, I'm Greg. Thanks for joining us. We can't wait to bring you Junior Cup race number 2.